Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce other two panelists. We have Mr. Ashford Gikunda. Mr. Ashford Gikunda is a teacher who has taught for so many years. He's an experienced hand when it comes to issues of exams. He's actually a director an examinations firm called Examinations Hub, where administers and oversees setting, marking, cordon of the exams process of several other exam bodies. So we are blessed to have a hand that is experienced in this training, and I believe when that time comes, you will also hear from him. I can see we have also Mr. Polycarp. Of course, I introduced him in absentia, but feel welcome, Mr. Polycarp. Now, at this juncture, allow me to welcome the first presenter of the day. Let me hand over to Polycarp, who is going to introduce to us the person that is going to present for the day. Mr. Polycarp, please. Polycarp, you unmute and then talk. You are still muted. You unmute and then speak. We can't hear you. Seemingly, Polycarp, are you there? We can't get him. Let's go to Ashford. Ashford, can you take it up? Mr. Ashford.
Yes, Sir George.
Yeah, kindly take it up and lead us to the person that is going to present today.
George, you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Thank you for that wonderful job you have done there. And thank you, Martin, for committing us to God. We are in different locations with Charles and the Polycarp, but I'm sure we are in different locations. I can hear you very loud and clear. And I have seen in the chat, somebody was asking if we are streaming live, and Martin has answered that. They can follow us through the YouTube channel, and I am also getting you loud and clear. Thank you for this session that enables us to sharpen one another. They normally say there is no man who is an island in himself. And even from the facilitations that we are doing, we are also getting a lot of feedback that we are going to use to improve our product, because when Kpsa excels, we all excel because we are under that umbrella, and we are very happy to be in this partnership, and we are hoping in 2 to 3 terms we will be better in terms of examination, administration, management, and everything. I don't know now whether Polycarp is able to take over. Mr. Polycarp and Charles. Polycarp?
Yes, greetings, my senior. How are you?
Charles,
can you hear me?
Charles, I can hear you loud and clear. Yes, Charles.
That is very fine. I'm also very fine. I'm very happy to be on this call. Come again.
Continue, Charles. It is your turn now.
I am using Mr. Polycarp's office.
Okay.
But he's somewhere else, so he's in a different, to allow the frequency to be smooth.
Okay.
So he may be having a problem with his internet, but I'm okay.
No problem, because you are the main facilitator. You can put on your video so that our teachers can see you. When
yes,
they meet in the street, they are able to say hi and they recognize you.
Yes, I'm very happy. Unfortunately, I don't know what is happening to my video, Mr. Ashford. The video won't show. I don't know what is happening to my camera. Mr. Ashford,
no
can
problem.
You hear me?
Yeah, yes. I can hear you, Charles. You can continue now.
So let me take it over. Please allow me once again to greet every person who is here and say that I'm very happy at this, because of this session that we are going to have. Thank you, Mr. George Okumu, for the earlier introduction that you made. And I know that I might have met most of these people who are here. My name is Charles Maran, a teacher of social studies. I have taught for more than 11 years. I did my Bachelor of Arts degree, specialized and majoring in history and religion at Kenyatta University. That is way back in 2015. I am a facilitator of social studies. I have facilitated for more than, this is my 5th year now. I am a member of the 7 skills that facilitates in different subjects. I also happened to have moderated the exams that was done by the Kpsa, and I was so happy. So once again, the only thing that I can say at now is that I'm so excited. I normally believe that there is no such a thing as a self-made man. You will reach your goals only with the help of others. For me, I can say that the place I have reached so far is mainly because I have leaned on other people's shoulders. So we are here, even the book of Proverbs ascertains that. It says in chapter 23, verse 17, that irons sharpens irons. So a man sharpens the countenance of his friend. We are here to gain from each other. And I believe that by the end of the day, we are not going to be the same the way we came. So that is it about my profile. Allow me to go straight into today's session. And I will start by sharing on the screen. Just a minute, please. Mr. Ashford, you are there?
We can get you, Charles. We can get you.
Okay, thank you. So I was saying there is no such a thing as a self-made man. You will reach your goals only with the help of others. I also have another quote. Individually, we are one drop, but together we are an ocean. So when we join hands together to help our learners and our pupils and even ourselves, individually we can be deemed as a drop, very minute. But when we come together, join hands together for a common purpose, I believe that we are going very far. Allow me to start. I know that you can see my screens, eh? You can see my screen?
Yes, Charles. Okay.
Okay, continue. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So allow me to start with a brief history of social studies, because social studies, you don't just talk about social studies without talking about the history. Social studies are actually the initial plan and the thought, the notion of coming up with the subject called social studies started way back in 1968, when different educationalists met together from different countries, and they decided that they were supposed to have a subject called social studies. But initially, it was not known as social studies. Initially, it was known as geography, history, and government. So I'm saying geography, history, and government were taught as different subjects. And at the summative examination of Certificate of Primary Education, commonly known as CPE, they were tested as general paper together with science. So you might have heard people talking about general papers long time ago, those people who are able to do, to be there during that time. Social studies was not known as social studies. Neither was it known as, in the summative examination, it was not known as geography, history, and government. It was done as one paper, but taught as different subjects. That is geography, history, and government. However, with the introduction of 844 system in 1985, the paper was changed to GHC. And I think this is where most of us fall under. GHC means geography, history, and civics. This was done as one paper at the summative examination of the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education. That is the KCPE. together with the religious education. I remember I did my KCPE in 2004, and this is why I fell, because it's supposed to be 1985. Immediately, it was introduced in 1985. Then 2003, we are going to have a change, as you will see. To this effect, therefore, the content was changed again to reflect changes that were at that time. After the recommendation of the David Koech Commission of 1999, the name was changed again to be Social Studies and introduced in primary school. So this is where now I fell. This is 2003, and in 2004, I did my KCPE. So Social Studies has changed both in name and the content, because of the trends and the changes that we are having in our society. Social Studies is a very important subject. It cannot be taught like mathematics. It's a subject by its own. It is very important because it is the one that normally helps in terms of the politics that we shall have by the end of the day. It shall help us in terms of the way we relate in the society, in terms of the way we relate with our people, and so forth. So it is also important, besides knowing the history where we are coming from, to talk about the objectives of social studies. Now that we are teaching social studies to our learners, what do we really want to instill to those learners? By the end of the course, from grade 1, let's just give an example of grade 1 all the way to grade 8, what do we want our learners to achieve? All that course, they have gone through the primary school. What do we want them to achieve? This is what we are calling the objectives of social studies. So I expect a teacher, according to the syllabus, by the end of the day, you are supposed to know the objectives of teaching social studies. Why do you teach? The first one is supposed to recognize and appreciate the family as an important social institution. Remember that the family is the most basic and important social unit. So by the end of the course, before a learner finishes class 8, he is supposed to recognize and appreciate the family as an important social institution. Objective number 2, the learner is supposed to understand, use, and manage the immediate environment for individual and national development. To use and manage the immediate environment for individual and national development. That is a very important objective. So as you go to the class, make sure that you are teaching learners who by the end of the day, you want them to understand and manage the immediate environment for their own individual and national development. And the two are intertwined. If it is just for the individual, then that one is it's not achieving that objective. It's supposed to be both him or herself and the national development. Objective number 2, according to the syllabus, and number 3 is supposed to be develop awareness of the evolution of man and appreciate the stages of human development. And I know most of you, teachers of social studies, standard 8, you know this is a topic where we are talking about the evolution of man. The learners are supposed to appreciate the stages of human development. Number 4, the learner is supposed to acquire knowledge of and show appreciation for the historical background of our communities. Remember, in Kenya, we have so many communities. As a teacher, when you go to teach that social studies, as you teach those learners, are you giving points that are going to help the learner to appreciate the historical background of our communities? That is a key important objective, number 4. Number 5 is supposed to be acquire knowledge of and show appreciation for desirable values. So a learner by the end of the day is supposed to change holistically, even in terms of our attitudes, behavior, and the way we take things. Number 6, we are supposed to acquire knowledge of available natural resources and demonstrate ability and willingness to utilize them properly. We talk about resources, we give examples, we even define that resources are those things that are normally used by human beings to earn a living for their livelihood. So as a teacher, one objective by the end of the course, as the learner finishes grade 8, he's supposed to get out of that school having acquired knowledge of available natural resources and demonstrate ability and willingness to utilize them properly. Number 7, understand the structure and functions of the government of Kenya and demonstrate ability to participate in its operations. I don't know whether teachers normally try to make the learners to understand their government, and they are supposed to, by the end of the day, demonstrate ability to participate in its operations. For us to have a good citizens in our country, learners must be equipped, and they are supposed to understand and to demonstrate the ability to participate in its operation, the government operations. Number 8, we are supposed to understand and appreciate the rights of an individual, human rights and responsibility. Even as the learner becomes a citizen in future, a responsible one, he is supposed to be aware of his right or her rights and also appreciate the rights of the other people, and also show that he's supposed to respect them. Number 9, we're supposed to identify, understand, and respect own and other people's culture. We have so many communities in Kenya, and these communities have different cultures. The teacher is supposed to help the learners to understand their culture and those of others and respect other people's cultures. Number 10, we are supposed to recognize and understand the need for and importance of interdependence of people and nations. As Mr. Ashford has said, no man is an island. Understand the need for and importance of interdependence, relations with other people and nations, even as they continue growing up to become responsible citizens. Number 11, we are going all the way to 16. If you check, these are the objectives of social studies. As you go to teach social studies, you are supposed to have these objectives in mind. This is according to the syllabus. Number 11, you are supposed to acquire knowledge and skills necessary to understand and analyze population issues which affect the quality of life of people of Kenya. We know that the number keeps growing. According to the last census, the number is not going to be the same when we come to the next census. What are the issues that are affecting our population and how can we solve them? They are supposed to acquire that knowledge, understand and analyze population issues which affect the quality of life of people of Kenya. Number 12, by the end of the course, the learner is supposed to understand and show appreciation for the love for and loyalty to the nation. I don't know whether you teachers have ever taught children, and in the process of teaching, you ask them whether they love their country, and you hear some learners saying that they don't. That is not what we are supposed to. By the end of the day, that means that we have not achieved what we really wanted, the objective number 12, according to the syllabus. So they are supposed to understand and show appreciation for the love for and be loyal to the nation. By the end of the course, according to objective number 13 of social studies, We're supposed to be willing and able to solve disputes in and out of school. We have taught, or you will teach, methods of solving disputes or conflict resolutions. Did the learner just learn so that he is able to pass the exam, or it is something that he can willingly try to implement out there? So objective number 13, because in our day-to-day activities, in our daily activities as we run our errands, we might find that there are conflicts here and there. Will the learner that was in your school be able and will show willingness to solve the disputes and the conflicts that may arise in a society? Number 14, we're supposed to understand and promote awareness and importance of democracy in a society. As you teach social studies, teachers, ladies and gentlemen, be aware that the syllabus demands that you make those learners understand and promote awareness of and importance of democracy in the society. Number 15, identify and promote economic activities in the society. We have different economic activities. Activities are those things that people do to earn a living. So we are supposed to identify what they are and whether this is an economic activity that is legal, and promote for the growth and development of our nation. We have the last one. The learner by the end of the course is supposed to understand and use map reading skills to interpret information. Let us not just teach social studies, the map work, reading and interpretation for answering questions. A learner is supposed to do this on his own or her own, even after school. So those are the objectives. We normally have 16 objectives of teaching social studies, and those, they are supposed to be acquired by the end of the course, the 8 years the learner has been in a primary school. I want to talk about characteristics of a good teacher of social studies. We have taught social studies for quite a while, and I know that with the vast experience that I have, if I tell you the characteristics of a good teacher of social studies, I would not be very far away from being right. And these are the characteristics that I consider of a good teacher of social studies. And in the process, as I take you through this, I know among us, we have leaders in our school, the HOS, the head teachers. I would make a request that as you are choosing teachers to teach subjects in your school, specifically when it comes to social studies, there are characteristics that you need to check. Please let us not give a teacher of who says that he can teach social studies and he's not willing. Because by the end of the day, there is what we want. We will not be able to achieve these goals and objectives of social studies in a learner, from a learner, if we shall not have the right teachers teaching those learners. So allow me to take you to the characteristics. There are not many of a good teacher of social studies. The first one, the teacher should be passionate about teaching social studies. As I was saying, you might find that in a school there is shortage of teachers of a certain or a particular subject. Let's say it's social studies, and then the leaders start asking, hey, Mr. So-and-so, can you teach class 5? And the teacher, because this is a rule or it's a directive, by the end of the day, you find the teacher is teaching social studies, yet he does not have passionate teaching social studies. So one thing that you're supposed to make sure that the teacher of social studies has is the passionate about teaching social studies. Over the years, I have come to like social studies, and I know it is through teaching from the heart that really helps those learners to gain what I have. Number two, the teacher of social studies should be hardworking in and out of the classroom. Social studies is so broad. There are a lot of things that are required. And a good teacher of social studies should be hardworking in and out. And I will say that it's not just hardworking, but he is also supposed to be smart. Work hard, mark those books, give notes, do research here and there, and make sure that whenever you give an exercise, for example, that exercise is not just given, and then you, for example, tell the learners to mark for themselves. Go and see what they said in those exercises. That is what I'm talking about, hard work. He is also supposed to be updated. A teacher of social studies gives details about the happenings. It is not good for a teacher of social studies, for example, to be asked about the ongoings in our country, and he's not aware. For example, there is a certain learner who asked me a question, and he asked whether I know the vice president of Uganda. So the question was, first of all, am I updated? Do I know the happenings? So a teacher of social studies, for sure, is supposed to be updated, so that you are not caught unaware. He is also supposed to have excellent pedagogical skills. By pedagogical skills, I mean you are a good learner, a teacher, you are hardworking, you are very updated, you had good qualifications according to the colleges and the tertiary schools that we went. But do you have the good pedagogical skills that are needed to execute the knowledge that you have to those learners? Are you humorous, for example? What are you doing with those learners? Are you that one type of a teacher who will always take learners' time and they get bored by the end of the day? Pedagogical skills in this case means good executing skills. You have passionate, yes, but are you passionate, and are you able to, do you have the skills that are needed to execute? Then you're supposed to be informed, you're supposed to be knowledgeable, you are supposed to have good mastery of the content, so that we don't keep referring to the textbooks, so that we don't keep telling learners that question I will answer tomorrow. Our learners are very smart. They know when you don't know. They know when you are tricking them. And therefore, the only thing that I can request and urge our teachers to have is you need to be a knowledgeable person. Allow me to go to when now you are in the classroom. What should you do? What do you do now that you're in classroom? One, use various teaching techniques, methods, and strategies. Don't be monotonous. You are teaching today, the learners are still in classroom, they normally don't see a difference. So I am urging you to use various teaching methods, techniques, and strategies. Today was group work, tomorrow will be a different one. Today was a quiz, the other was this. The other day was visiting a certain place. So those strategies normally help. Another point, when you are in class, use relevant ideas, facts, and opinions to explain points. Always make sure that whatever thing that you are talking, social studies, normally you might find yourself talking even things that are ongoing, yet they are not making sense according to the topic and the objective that you're supposed to achieve. So use relevant ideas, use facts and opinions to explain points. And this way, I know our learners will achieve the objectives that are set and expected according to the syllabus. Another thing that you're supposed to do you're supposed to use a variety of teaching aids. Don't just go there, lecture method. It is boring. You'll find your learners learning, and especially because most of our lessons are given in the afternoon. So if you don't have teaching aids, if you don't have those pedagogical skills, then you might find that you are losing the learners. Another thing that I would like to request the teachers to do while in classroom, use local environment and resource persons. Call the chief, for example. Call the district educational officer if there is any in your school, in your area. Call those leaders. Use resource persons who are experienced in a certain area. It will really help a lot. A resource person does not necessarily have to be from outside. It can also be one of the teachers from a different class to come and explain a certain concept. So use local environment and resource persons. Another thing that I'll request is that you involve children in practical activities and develop the necessary behaviors, attitudes, skills, and values among learners. As we try to bring responsible learners in future, which is one of the objectives of social studies, involve them in practical activities. Like, for example, when you are talking about democracy, how do you practice democracy in a school, for example? Involve them practically. Let them elect their leaders, for example, their prefects. Teachers, please let us not appoint prefects when that can be a very good technique of teaching the democracy in a school. So involve children in practical activities and develop the necessary behaviors, attitudes, skills, and values among learners. So that is it. In social studies, once you understand the characteristics of a good teacher of social studies, we know the 16 objectives that are laid down by the ministry. Once you know what you're supposed to do in class, then now we can go to the distribution of the syllabus content. Allow me to take you there. We normally have 9 topics. The first one is the physical environment, and I want to take you to, for the last 5 good years, KCPE years, and we can predict what is going to happen in 2022, even as we expect the KCPE, which is in a few months. So we normally have 9 topics. The first one is physical environment, and I will take you slowly. In 2016, as you can see here, 12 questions came from this topic. According to 2017, we had 11 questions on physical environment. 2018, we had 11. 2019, we had 12. 2020, we had 10 questions from physical environment. This, according to percentage distribution, it was 18%. This is out of the 60 questions that are normally set. You can make your guess, and your guess is as right as mine, that if in 2020 the physical environment is to be tested, and I am sure it will be tested, then the percentage will not be very far from 18%. Questions will range from 10 to about 12. We can do that analysis later. People and population, 2016, 7 questions came. We had 2017, 6 questions. 2018, we had 5. 2019, we had 5. 2020, we had 5 again. This is 10% out of the 60. Your guess, I wish you can write it on the chat, and we see whether we can get it by the end of the day, because I know it will not be very far away. It will be somewhere to do with 10, 5 questions all the way to 7, not exceeding 10, and not below the 5 that we have here. The lowest that has gone has been 5. So that is the people and population. Then we have a topic called social relations and cultural practices. In 2016, we had 5 questions. In 2017, we had 6 questions. In 2018, we had 5 questions. In 2019, we had 4 questions. And in 2020, we had 5 questions. This again is an average percentage of 10%. You can guess and get what will come here in 2022. Resources and economic activities. 2016, the questions out of 60 were 16. In 2017, there were 17. In 2018, there were 18. In 2019, there were 19. In 2020, there were 20. And the percentage distribution is 29%. I don't know whether you can see a trend that each year it's like they are taking the last number of the year, like 2016, 16 questions, 2017, 17 questions, 2018, 18 questions, 2019, like that. So I don't want to say that 2022, it will be 22 questions, but you can predict that this is a topic that we really need to emphasize and to put our efforts and emotions on. Political development and systems. In 2016, we had 8 questions. In 2017, we had 8. In 2018, we had 9. In 2019, we had 7. And in 2020, we had 9 questions. So again, a percentage distribution is supposed to be 13. So these are topics that really, it has weight, but if you compare with resources and economic activities is a little bit heavier. You can make your predictions for 2022. Citizenship is not a very heavy topic, but it is very important. The questions in 2016 were 2, sorry. In 2017, there were 2. In 2018, there were 2. In 2019, there were 2. In 2020, there were 2. Average percentage is supposed to be 3. And in 2022, I think we can make a guess and get how many questions. Actually, if you check the trend, the questions have been 2 throughout. Then we go to democracy and human rights. The questions in 2016 were 2. In 2017, they were 2. 2018, 2. 2019, 2. 2022. And the percentage again is 3%. You can make a guess and try to find out what 2022 will be like. As you can see again, the trend has been 2 throughout. Law, peace, and reconciliation is a little bit important. If you compare with citizenship and democracy, law, peace, and reconciliation has more questions because in 2016, we had 4 questions. 2017, 4 questions. 2018, 4 questions. 2019, 4 questions. 2023 questions, that is last year, the last year's candidates. 2022, we had, we will have, I think we will not go far away from 4 or 3. It will be 4 somewhere there. Then the last topic, the government of Kenya. In 2016, 4. 2017, 4. It's down there. I don't know whether you can see them. 2018, 4 questions. 2019, 5 questions. And 2020, 4 questions. Averagely, in terms of distribution, 7%. So your guess, again, will help you also to plan. It is very important for us to know the distribution and the way the topics are distributed, because these will help us to know which topic to emphasize more. Let us not waste a lot of time teaching topics, like for example, you take a whole 1 week talking about citizenship. You take a whole 1 month talking about democracy and human rights. Yet those questions is 3%. I think by the end of the day today, we shall have a new perspective on the way we are supposed to approach our coverage of the syllabus, for example. There are those topics which are heavier than the other ones. And the heaviest, normally you can even find a teacher taking a whole 1 term, for example, in the resources and economic activities. So I'd urge you people, even as we continue planning and hoping for the best from our learners, come KCPE, it is also upon us to know which topics we are supposed to use a lot of time on. Because we might teach, but by the end of the day, we find that we did not hit our target, mainly just because we did not put more emphasis on the most important topics. Allow me to take you to the cognitive skills that are tested. Cognitive skills that are tested when it comes to social studies. They had 6 cognitive skills. As we teach social studies, in an examination setup, number 1 to 6, what is the examiner checking? The examiner checks the following skills. Does the learner have the knowledge? Does the learner have, did the learner comprehend whatever thing that was taught? Can the learner apply, that is application, whatever thing that he was taught or she was taught? Can the learner analyze a certain issue or a certain question and come up with the answer? If a learner is given a synthesis question, is he or she able to answer it? And also the evaluation. So we normally have 6 skills that are normally tested in social studies, as you can see. And I have put it on the table here according to the last 5, and we also make our own prediction come 2022. So that by the end of the day, if you are a teacher who likes giving quizzes to the learners, you don't waste a lot of time asking knowledge questions, for example, yet there are questions that you are supposed to set. I am so happy because Kpsa has given us a forum of showing what we are supposed to do. We are teaching teachers with the hope that even when they get out of the meeting today, they will go, and if they were to set quizzes, for example, they will be able to dwell on the most important. The first one was knowledge. In 2016, 6 questions. 2017, 6 questions, tested knowledge. In 2018, 5 questions, tested knowledge. In 2019, 9 questions, I think this is the highest, tested knowledge. 2020, tested knowledge. I'll be showing you very soon how the knowledge questions normally look like, so that by the end of the day, you can take that paper and analyze and tell the number of questions that were testing the knowledge skill were these. So averagely, from the 5 years, 10% of knowledge was tested. So we can make our prediction here, and I can guess that the questions will be between 5 to 9. They will not be far from that. We have comprehension. In 2016, we had 12. In 2017, we had 8. In 2018, we had 8. In 2019, we had 11. And in 2020, we had 11. So you can make a prediction that really comprehension compared with knowledge, comprehension needs slightly more effort. Then we have application questions. Application questions are a little bit heavier. There are more in KCPE papers. In the 2016, there were 18. In 2017, there were 17. In 2018, 15 of them. In 2019, we had 15. In 2020, we had 19, a percentage of 28%. So as you take and buy papers, those examinations, please make sure that application questions are more, because you might do a paper that has a lot of, that is in terms of the cognitive distribution, you find that knowledge questions are more and the learners pass. But when it comes to KCPE that has more application questions and analysis questions, as we shall see, you find that the learners are not having good marks. We have analysis questions. In 2016, they were 17. That is 2016, sorry. In 2017, they were 17. In 2018, they were 18. In 2019, they were 14. 2020 candidates did 15 questions that had analysis, and we can make our prediction. Averagely, 28%. Again, these are skills that you really need your learners to have, because it has weight. If you compare analysis and application questions, application and analysis are carrying more questions. And therefore, I would ask my teachers and the teachers here on the call that we really dwell on application and analysis questions. We have synthesis. I'll be showing you what type of questions those are. Synthesis questions in 2016 had 4. In 2017, we had 6. In 2018, we had 6. In 2019, we had 5 questions. In 2020, we had 4 questions. These the synthesis and evaluation questions are normally known as high-skilled cognitive questions. They are really demanding in terms of thinking. And therefore, they are also important. We can make our prediction, as you can see. The questions are between 4, 5, and 6. And I don't think we can go far from there come 2022. Evaluation questions, 2016, they were 4. 2017, they were 6. 2018, they were 8. 2019, they were 6. And 2020, they were 6. My prediction in 2022, questions maybe will be 6. Average percentage in terms of distribution, 10 of them. I mean 10%. What you need to know is that knowledge is a low-level cognitive skill. Please let us not dwell too much on knowledge only. Knowledge questions normally have something to do with, do you remember? Do you know? The memory. And there is a thing that I want to remind people. There is a quote that says, memory is not an indicator of intelligence. And I think we shall be talking about that when we shall be talking about rote teaching. There are some people who can make learners to cram things. Find that they have questions. I mean, they even have songs. It's not bad. They can form the foundation as we go deeper. Please note that there is a difference between knowledge and application, synthesis, analysis, and evaluation. Knowledge skills, knowledge questions include, they have something to do with, like, for example, this question here. allow me to remove this. In which year was the AU formed? I hope you can write the answers down on the chat. In which year was the AU formed? This is a question to do with memory. There is nothing that you can do about it. It's either you know or you don't know. It's memory, it's knowledge. The knowledge, things to do with knowledge have something to do with remembering. For example, when you ask Alana, in which year did Kenya gain independence? There is no much thinking. It's either he knows or she doesn't know. So in which year was the AU formed? And I hope you guys are getting it right. The correct answer is supposed to be the first one, choice A, in 2nd July 2002. That is a knowledge question. For example, if you ask Alana, which country is the largest in Africa? That has something to do with knowledge. He either knows or he doesn't know. What is the name of your county? Knowledge. Knowledge has something to do with removing ignorance. Do you know or you don't know? So as you set questions, please remember what we have said in this table here, that knowledge questions 10%. Example of a comprehension-based question. I took it from 2019, number 45. One of the objectives of the Organization of African Union was to, you know that there is an organization called OAU, or that was called OAU. And you know very well which year it was formed. Now the question is, did you understand the details about that concept, for example, that you are taught? So one of the objectives of the Organization of African Union was to, I don't know whether you people can write the answers on the chat as we continue. One of the objectives of the Organization of African Union was to, that is a 2019 number 45 question. This question is checking the comprehension. Did the learner understand whatever thing that entails to do with the OAU? Another question is the application question. As we saw, application questions or application skill takes a large portion, 28%. You have taught learners, are they able to implement or to execute whatever knowledge that you gave them? You told them, they understood. Do they have the details? Comprehension. Are they able to implement? That is application. I have an example here. Martin was asked by his teacher to give ways of caring for persons with physical disability. Now we have gotten out of the class. We are talking about the yes, you are taught about these things, but which among the following responses would not be correct? How do you help a person out there? If a learner will be able to give us the correct answer in this case, I think it shows that the learner is becoming a responsible person in future. So that is an example of an application question. Example of an analysis. Analysis, an example here is the following are roles played by the legislative. We expect you to go to the choices and pick the correct one. The following are roles played by the Legislative Council in the struggle for independence in Kenya, except, so you go to the choices and analyze. This is a 2017 question, that is question number 51. And I hope you people can see the questions. Demanding for more African representatives in the government, fighting for the release of political prisoners, registering political associations, writing the constitution. So analysis is you go and analyze, go and check according to what you are taught. What do you think is the correct answer? Analyze and come up with the correct answer. Now we have the last one, a synthesis question, synthesis-based question. In a synthesis question, you are given either conditions, characteristics, or achievements of a certain person, and you are supposed to, from the characteristics or from the conditions, you come up with the correct answer. For example, in the question here, we had one in 2020. The question was almost the same as this one, but I have changed a little bit. Below are conditions that favor the growth of a certain crop. Then you are given the characteristics and you are supposed to come up with the correct answer. And please note, dear teachers, that application from the application questions, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation, those questions are really, really demanding. Actually, most teachers, when it comes to setting questions, they would fear to set such. Most learners, if you go to a class, they will get knowledge questions, which among the following, for example, is a notable lake. Most people know. It's knowledge. But now let's go to details. Did you understand? Do you have the comprehension? Are you able to synthesize? I have given you a characteristic of a certain river, for example. It has large water volume. It has many tributaries. It ends in form of an estuary, and it drains into Atlantic Ocean. Are you able to tell us what or which river that is? That is a synthesis-based question. It is asking or it is testing the synthesis. Allow me to take you to evaluation question, which I think is the last in terms of the skills that are tested. An evaluation question looks like this: which of the following is a cause of conflict in a society? In such a case, you are given several choices and you're supposed to go and evaluate. Which one do you think is the correct answer? This is 2017, number 30. Partnership in elections, for example, scarcity of resources, difference in opinion, cultural differences. Most of our learners do not like such questions. And that is why I'm saying we might be doing a certain setup of a question of an examination, of an exam, and our learners are really passing well, only to find later that we were misled. They were only asking simple questions to do with knowledge. But when it came to critical thinking, application of whatever concept that a learner has learned, is the learner able to evaluate? I've heard of learners who say that really, teacher, this question, apart from a certain choice, all the others look like they are correct answers. So an example of an evaluation question is as given here. We have which of the following is a cause of conflict in a society? Please allow me to take you to the words, keywords and phrases that are used in social studies. I'll try to be fast because of time. We have the word list. Please, teachers, do not assume that these learners know what the word list means. Explain to them that the word list means not in the list, lowest possible, or smallest in size or degree. And I have an example of a question here. All the following are ways of managing rapid population. And I don't know whether I can give you a minute or two. You try to answer this question. All the following are ways of managing rapid population. Which among them is the least? In other words, the thing that the learner is supposed to do is, first of all, to check the one that is not a way of managing rapid population. Establishment of more irrigation schemes, construction of more industries, fighting against wife inheritance, creating public awareness. So I don't know whether teachers, we can, even as we talk about the word list in this case, whether we can tell what cognitive this question is testing. Is it a comprehension question? Is it a synthesis? Is it an evaluation? Is it a knowledge question? What type of cognitive is the question asking? As you can see already, it's not a knowledge question. Then we have the word main, which is very common in social studies. The word main means major. It also means key, chief, prime. It means the most important of its kind. The most important of its kind. For example, which of the following is the main cause of lawlessness in a society? If you go to the choices, you might find that all of them, choice A all the way to D, are causes, but the examiner wants to know whether the learner is able to come up with the one that is the main. For example, drug abuse can be a cause of lawlessness, tribalism, poor leadership, illiteracy, and so forth. Did you have learners, or do you have learners who are able to come up with the correct answer in such a question? What I can assure you is that this is not an example of a knowledge question. This one thing needs a critical thinker. So we might be having learners who are doing very well in knowledge. But by the end of the day, when it comes to critical thinking, and I will remind you of that quote that I have just said, memory is not an indicator of intelligence. An intelligent person thinks. A person who just dwells on memory will just remember. Kenya got independence in 1963. Then let's continue now. You ask questions about that 1963 does not have the content. So let's put more emphasis on the same. And then we have another word, common. The word common means more frequent. It can also mean happening often or existing in large number. For example, the most common problem facing dams in Africa is frequent flooding, industrial wastes, collection of silt, low water volume. If you check this question, choices seem to be problems. Yes, there are problems, but now which is the most common? Most of our dams have a problem. Which one is the most common? Which one is happening more frequent in almost all the dams in Africa? So please let the learners know what the word common means. Don't assume that they know. Explain to them, and I am sure when they know these words, the meaning of these words, they will be able to answer the questions that they are being asked. I have the word best. The word best means most excellent or having the most positive quality. For example, which of the following best describes the importance of peace? This is a question that was in KCPE. If we are not careful, the learner might fail it, and it seems to be very simple. You are being asked about the best description, the one that describes the best importance of peace. If you go to the choices, you will find patriotism, foreign investment, good governance, national unity. If a learner is not able to critically think, he or she may end up failing such a question. I have another one, the question both. The word both, sorry. The word both means two considered together. Two considered together. For example, in a question, which of the following is both a traditional and modern method of weather prediction? That the weather prediction took place in traditional African society and is also happening today. It is being used today. Observing clouds, appearance of the moon, observing behavior of birds, and trails of ants. So the learner here is expected to take the one that happens in both. Used to happen and is also being used. That is the word both. Please, teachers, let the learners know what these words mean before they do the KCPE. And I know it is not late. We still have time. We can explain these things and the learners understand. Then we have the word except. This is very common. It means apart from. Let the learners know. Please don't assume. A majority may be knowing, but we don't want to leave anyone behind. We want all the learners to perform well. Give an example of a question that has such a word. Let the learner understand. Please hold hand to that learner who does not know social studies. Not that they don't know. We normally say they are a little bit slow to understanding. For example, in a sentence using the word except, I have rural to urban migration poses the following challenges to the urban areas, apart from or except. Which one is it? Which one is not one of the challenges of the rural to urban migration? Another question, another word that is key is the word likely. The word likely means without much a doubt. Without much doubt. For example, in which of the following ways is a person likely to be infected with HIV AIDS? These are 2006 question number 14. In which of the following ways is a person likely, without a doubt, who will be infected with HIV and AIDS? Without a doubt. Sharing injections, shaking hands, sharing clothes, playing games. Please explain the meaning of the word likely. I have another word. Allow me to take you there. I have the word true. The word true in a question of social studies means with fact. It is real, accurate. For example, which of the following statement is true about Kabaka of Buganda Kingdom? Which of the following is true about Kabaka of Buganda Kingdom? Teachers, even as we are talking about the keywords here, always remember to to try and check the type of cognitive that is being checked in such a question. Which of the following statement is true about Kabaka of Buganda Kingdom?
Charles, seemingly we've lost you. Charles? Polycarp, can you take over, please? Or Rashford? Whoever is available. Yes, yes.
Okay.
I can hear you.
I can hear you. I'm following very keenly. But I am on a different location with Polycarp and Charles. He's back.
It's working. We are coming back. Don't worry, just 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. In the meantime, there are a few concerns being raised through the Polycarp. When you are ready, you let us know. But in the meantime, I can address a few things that people are asking via the chat column. Somebody is asking about a booking of exams. That is, Mr. Isaiah Odiambo is asking booking of Kps exams. How do you go about it? Booking of Kps exams, you send a text message to the number 0738 227 533. I repeat, of course, I'll insert the number on the chat column, 0738 227 533. In the text message, you indicate the school name, the county where the school is located, your nearest town or nearest post office, and then the number of pupils per class. PP1 are how many pupils, PP2, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, all through up to class 8. Then after that, after we receive it, we'll send you the bill the account details on how and where to pay. So that is how you book for Kps examinations. There are people that are appreciating Mr. Zakaria Kipungeno. Is saying that him together with other teachers and their pupils are following keenly, and they are really appreciating the presentation by Mr. Charles Maura. Thank you very much, Mr. Zakaria, together with your pupils and teachers of Chemitan Academy. Thank you so much for following together the kids. Mr. Felix, you are back, eh?
Yes, Mr. George, how are you? You can hear me?
Yes, Charles, you're back.
Yes, sorry. These things are bound to happen with the
Yeah, it happens, we understand.
Yes, so allow me to continue.
Take over.
Please allow me to, maybe you can tell me from where, because I'm told that I got lost minutes ago.
Just, I think that the last time you, I can't exactly. Ashford, can you remember what he was talking about?
Yes, George.
Yes.
Also, you are explaining the key ones used in social studies. I think you are on your last one or second last thereabout.
Oh, exactly. Thank you. You can see it on the screen.
Yes. Very well.
Very good. Well. Thank you. So I was talking about the word wrong. And I am saying the word wrong can be added an ly there wrongly, and it means incorrect or inaccurate. And I was to give an example here. Mr. Enoch, a teacher of social studies at Josna Primary School, asked his pupils to give examples of elements of a good citizen. Then the question comes in. Who among the following pupils gave a wrong answer? So let the learners know that which one, the word wrong means what? Inaccurate. The one who gave an inaccurate answer. Then I have the last one on the keywords, which is correct. It can also be correctly. It means the one that is right. Free from error, or the one that is of no fault. For example, in a sentence, in a question, which among the following minerals is correctly matched with the country where it is mined? Then the county, sorry. Which of the following minerals is correctly matched with the county where it is mined? So those are the words. I would really like teachers to have such, so that by the end of the day, when you get into class, that learner who did not understand these words can really know what they mean. And I am sure they will have a change. Right now, because of time also, allow me to go to the most failed questions in the Kpsa paper that we did. And I hope you can see. I'll share the paper on the screen so that we move on. We did the papers, class 6, class 7, and 8. And I will start with the class 6. And I also hope that the teachers can write on the screen, on the chat, as we continue to engage, what type of a question did Kpsa examinations setter check? Which cognitive, what type of a question is that? Is it an application-based question? Is it a comprehension question? Because I know by now, we know what type of a question it is. And we also have application questions, for example, in map work. Let me show you an example. We have social studies, the most failed class 6, number 1, 7, 8, 11, and 12. Allow me to take you there. Sorry. Yes, here. Standard 6. Standard 6, question 1. Standard 6, question 1. And I hope you can see it. You can see the paper. Question 1, the question is asking, we have a map called total area. There is a river. There are several things I would like to request the teachers of social studies to be doing and to tell the teachers, the learners to do before they start doing the map work, the map interpretation and reading. Let the learner identify the highest place and the lowest. I know by now you have taught them things to do with sloping of the area and the rising of an area. Let the learner, whether the question is there or not, let the learner indicate on the map the H, which means highest, and L, or low, write the word lowest. In this case, the learner will be safe when confronted by a question asking about which is the highest and which direction does the area rise or slope from. Question 1, standard 6, is one of the most failed question, is asking which is the lowest point of total area. Which is the lowest point of total area? I don't know whether teachers, we can answer what cognitive is being tested on this by the examination setter. Which is the lowest point of total area? And how do you come up with the total, the rising, the lowest, and the highest point of an area? We normally use we can use crops, but the most common, the one that is mostly used is the river. We normally check where the river and how the river flows. For example, we have this river here. It is connecting from where we have the forests to where we have Lake Toto. An area normally rises from the source. An area normally rises from the lowest. So it's upon you as a teacher to tell the learners to identify and normally, and to know how a river flows. We normally know that water normally is supposed to flow from a higher point going to a low point. So the lowest point, now the question is, how do I identify, how do I know where the river is flowing from? Because where it is flowing from is normally the highest point. The water normally flows to a low point. Sloping is like sliding. Normally, you slope from a high point going to a low point. So the question is asking which of the following, which is the lowest point? Obviously, it is where the water is going to. It is where the river is draining into. That point is the lowest. And in this case, it's upon us as teachers to know, to tell the learners that where the tributaries are, for example, in this case, and you are supposed to make sure that the learners know the difference between tributaries and distributaries, channels at the mouth. For example, in this case, we only have one tributary. It can be indicated by the forest. Where we have the forest, we have a tributary here. One way to make sure that the learners get the difference between a tributary and a distributary, draining the water into a certain water body, is by checking the way the tributaries or distributaries have been drawn. As you can see, this one is going towards this direction. I don't know that you can see that. And there is a forest. We normally know forest, coffee, tea, paredram are normally crops that are grown on highlands. And therefore, in this case, where we have the tributaries is where we have the source. And that is where I expect the learner to write as the highest point. And therefore, the lowest is where the river is going. And therefore, in this case, the river is draining its water into Lake Toto. And therefore, this delta here, this feature where the distributaries are several, normally the feature is normally called, it's called a delta. If it is one, I know you teachers know, it's called an estuary. So the lowest point was near Lake Toto. It was tricky, I know. Most learners might have thought that according to them, the lowest point is here. Even as you drop your pencil, for example, like this. But they were supposed to understand, this is an application question. Applying, you have seen a river outside there. Are you able to apply that knowledge that you are taught by the teacher, rising and sloping and so forth? It's an application question. And I think that is why most learners failed, because most of our learners just want knowledge questions. I am sure, for example, if you ask them, what do we call the feature marked, the feature that is found at the mouth? They will tell you it's a delta. That's a knowledge question. But now apply what you have been taught. They have several things that they are supposed to do. It's an application question. That's why I think they failed. Question number 2 that was mostly failed was question 11. Not question 11. Before we go to 11, there is question 7. And question 7 is connected to question 1. Again, it's an application question. It is asking the land in total area rises towards. Please, teachers, let the learners know the difference between to and from. These are some of the words that normally make children fail. Not that they don't know, but they don't know the difference between towards, to, and from. I've said again, this is the lowest point, and this is the highest. Where the river is coming from is the highest point. Where it is going towards is the lowest. And therefore, rising is normally from the lowest area or point to the highest point. And therefore, the learner was supposed to apply the knowledge that they were taught. Together with the comprehension, they understood the details and give us the correct answer. Therefore, the correct answer for number 7, the land in total area rises towards, was supposed to be towards this direction. From here, towards this direction, towards. This is the highest point. The other question is question 11. Question 11 is asking which color represents the plains. I don't know whether you teachers can write on the chart. You tell me what cognitive is being tested on this question. Which color represents the plains? So that by the end of the day, this learner understands that really this is a knowledge. This is application. I am supposed to analyze and come up with the correct answer. This is an evaluation. It's checking my evaluating skills. Which color represents the plains? It is either you know or you don't know. It's knowledge. Do you know what blue represents? Most people know, and especially the children, they will tell you blue is for water bodies. Green represents vegetation. That's a knowledge question. It's just memory. Brown represents highlands. And plains are represented by yellow. So the correct answer here was yellow. And there is another color, purple. I don't know whether you can write on the chart. Purple represents what? It's a knowledge question. I can see Otieno who is saying cognitive, knowledge, yellow. Thank you, Mr. Otieno, you got what I'm saying. So this is a cognitive, it's checking the knowledge cognitive skill. Thank you very much. I don't know that there was another question. Yes, there was question 12. Which physical features is shared by most countries of Eastern Africa? Please write on the chat. Let me know what type of a question this is. Is it testing cognitive? I mean, is it testing knowledge, application, analysis, or what type of a cognitive is being checked here? So which physical features is shared by most countries of Eastern Africa? I expect the learners by now to have known this. It's a very simple question because they are supposed to have understood mountains. Mountains in most cases, unless they are at the border, cannot be shared by many. For the lakes in Africa especially, we don't have many lakes that are shared by many countries, apart from Lake Malawi, the one, for example, Lake Victoria and Tanganyika. But for the Rift Valley that starts from Jordan and goes all the way to a place called Beira in Mozambique was the correct answer. So I don't know why they failed. I don't know whether teachers are able to tell whether it was because it is an application question or it's a knowledge. So teachers, let me check whether there was another question. Yeah, there were question 1, 7, 8, 11, and 12. Allow me to go to question, the paper for standard 7. Question 8 was the most failed. Question 9, question 10, 13, and 37. Allow me to take you there. Sorry. Standard 7. The first one we have said is question 13. Is it question 13? Yes. Question 8, sorry. Question 8. Question 8 is asking, it's here. Which one of the following minerals is used to make toothpaste and strengthen aluminium? Which of the following minerals is used to make toothpaste and strengthen aluminium? Now, you are given uses. I don't know whether you people, teachers, can write on the chat what type of a question this is, what cognitive is being tested. Which of the following minerals is used to make toothpaste and strengthen aluminium? We have fluorspar, limestone, diatomite, soda ash. There are several important points when it comes to minerals. The learner is supposed to know the place where it is mined. That is knowledge. They're supposed to know the uses. They're supposed to know maybe the problems and the importance of these minerals to the economy of our country. Now we have this mineral and we are just given the, Mr. Polycarp, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Which of the following mineral is used to make toothpaste and strengthen aluminium? We have fluorspar, limestone, diatomite, soda ash. Allow me to just quickly check whether there is a person who has written what type of a question this is. Fluorspar knowledge. Now, I think we did not understand. There is a thing that we did not understand. If, for example, you are given characteristics of a certain or uses of a certain what? Mineral. You are given characteristics of a certain climatic region. You are given uses. You are given conditions of a certain crop for it to grow. What type of a question, what cognitive is being tested? This is not a knowledge question. Which of the following mineral is used to make? You are given. It's like I start listing it. The following are uses of a certain mineral. It is used to make toothpaste. It is used to strengthen aluminium and I think steel. They can add, it is used in making cement. And in this case, by the way, when they add the word cement, in most cases, it complicates ideas because most people normally think that the only mineral that is a raw material for making for making cement is limestone. So which of the following mineral is used to make toothpaste and strengthen aluminium? Let me check. Somebody, you got me off. Synthesis question. Very good. A person has said synthesis, which is very true. So which mineral is used to make toothpaste and strengthen aluminium? For me, I normally tell my my pupils, when it comes to the making of cement, they read that point in low tones because it is just used. It's not the main raw material for making cement. The one for making cement is normally the limestone. So this is a synthesis question. And the learner was supposed to take those two uses of that mineral and come up with the correct answer. And I think one of the reasons why most of our learners are failing is mainly because we are not putting more effort on explaining and giving them examples of high-skilled cognitive questions. Most of us, when it comes to questions like where do we mine fluorspar, in most cases, learners will know. It's Kerio Valley, Kimoarer, in Elgeyo Marakwet. That is knowledge. But now let's go to the uses. Synthesize now. You are given several uses of a certain mineral. You are supposed to come up with the correct answer. And that is the correct answer. Let's go to number 9. Which climatic region has the following features? Again, let me see on the chart. Which climatic region has the following features? Roman 1 has a double rainfall, supposed to be has a double maxima, has minimal temperature range, receives convectional rainfall, and maybe we can add several others, but let's just read the ones that are there. So let me see on the chart what type of a cognitive is being tested. Joram, you are saying synthesis, and I can see all of us are going there. We have analysis by one of us, analysis, synthesis. Now, let me repeat. Once you are given uses, you are given characteristics of a certain thing, it's upon you to come and do what? Synthesize. You come up with the correct answer. And therefore, this number 9 is a synthesis question. It's a synthesis question. I don't know whether I have exhausted all of them from class 7. Let me check. Question 10, 13, and 37. Question 10, 13, and 37. Question 10, 13, and 37. Just a minute. Which is the largest country in Africa? This is a very simple question, teachers. I don't expect learners to fail this question because even as you can see, it is direct. It's either you know or you don't know. Please, teachers, by now, a candidate is not supposed to be failing knowledge questions. In other words, it might mean that the teachers have not reached to that topic. They have not been taught. Which is the largest country? If, for example, you find a learner who is not answering that question, unless maybe they have not reached there. You ask a learner which is the largest producer of which country is the largest producer of cocoa in Africa? We don't expect a learner to fail that question unless maybe the teacher has not covered that topic. And by now, teachers are supposed to be strategic. Remember one of the things that we said, when you get into that classroom, give the main points. And we talked about characteristics of a good teacher of social studies. He is supposed to use good pedagogical skills. One of the ways to come up with good results in social studies, make sure you cover syllabus on time. Not just covering the syllabus for the sake of covering. Please cover the syllabus effectively. Teach for them to understand. You better even be a little bit slow, but cover it effectively. So let me see on the chat, please, as fast as possible. Cote d'Ivoire, oh, you're answering my question about Coco. I am happy that we know. Now, I wanted to see whether we know the question, what cognitive is being checked. Kindly send us the slides in our emails. Allow me to check knowledge, 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 knowledge. All of us are okay. Knowledge. Somebody saying analysis. I think that's the former question, the previous one. Eh? And therefore, which is the largest country in Africa? That's a knowledge question. Reason why it was one of the most failed questions, maybe what I can assume from our side is that maybe you had not covered that. Which is the largest country in Africa? It's knowledge. It is one of the simple questions. The other one that I have seen is question number 37. Is it that 7? Question 13. Question 13. Which of the following statement is true? Which of the following statement is true? Please, teachers, with your help, allow me to check whether we have understood what type of a question this is. Which one of the following statement is true? Kenya lies east of Somalia. Somalia lies west of Kenya. Kenya lies north of Uganda. These are high demanding questions. So a teacher to tell us on the chat, what type of a question? Knowledge, 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 knowledge. Someone, analysis, comprehension, another person, analysis. Very good. Those teachers who are saying analysis understood what I meant. You go to the choices and analyze what you are given. Analyze. Kenya lies east of Somalia, Somalia lies. You analyze the questions, the points that are given. And in this case, the correct answer is supposed to be dog. Reason why they failed, I might tend to think that most of maybe our teachers have not concentrated more on application questions, analysis questions, high critical thinking questions. And that's why maybe they are failing. Please, before we go to KCPE, let us emphasize on the importance of having such questions. The other one is 37. Question number 37 is asking, what is the main problem facing marine fishing along the Kenyan coast? It's just here. What is the main problem facing fishing along the coast? It's here. It's number 37. What is the main problem facing marine fishing along the Kenyan coast? Inadequate refrigeration facilities. You might remember we said that we are supposed to teach our learners what the word main means, because all the given choices, there might be problems that are facing marine fishing, but you are asked which one is the main, and is upon the learner to go and use the skill that was given to him or her by the teacher and come up with the correct answer. So again, you can write the what type of a question or a type of a skill is being tested here. What is the main problem facing marine fishing? But if you have written something different from application question, then you really did not understand. So the correct answer here is supposed to be inadequate refrigeration facilities. Pollution is a problem, but is not the main. Overfishing is also a problem, and especially with the use of trolling, the trawlers, but it is not the main problem. The main problem is actually lack of capital to buy fishing equipment. Some of these equipment that are needed, the modern ones, include refrigeration facilities. So let them know that money is really a problem. There are so many skilled fishermen along the coast, and they really would like to do fishing. Marine, in most cases, you don't have the presence of water weeds there. Waterweed is the main problem facing fishing in Lake Victoria. And I don't know whether I can post this question. What is the main problem facing fishing in Lake Turkana, Lake Rudolph? So this was an application question. it needed critical thinking for the learner to come up with the correct answer. And I want to thank Kpsa for such a good paper that have several and well-distributed skills from number 1 all the way to number 60. Allow me to go to class 8. And class 8 also had some challenges. The paper was not very hard. The first question that was failed, allow me to check here. Is question 20. We have 21, 26, and 27. I don't know what the problem was. I don't know what the problem was because it is like from 20, 21, number 20s. We have no number 30, we have no 40s, 50s, and so forth. So number 20, allow me to go to number 20 and check what the examiner was asking. Please, teachers, always allow your learners to understand the type of cognitive skill that is being tested. And I know with that, it will help them also to equip themselves. Number 20, the question is asking, they were given a mountain, there is rainfall, and there is a water body just next here. And the question was asking, the part marked B receives little rainfall, mainly because the part marked B receives little rainfall, mainly because, now, this is a subtopic by its own. It is, the teachers have taught, they have explained why the part marked B and the part marked A is different. Now, it's upon the learner to go and use the skill that they have been taught by the teachers and come up with the correct answer. The part marked B receives little rainfall. One, they will use the knowledge that the part marked B is called the leeward. And the winds that are there do not have a lot of what? Moist. Actually, they are normally cold and dry. And then again, now they go deeper. They start explaining why it receives little rainfall. And the correct answer here, I don't know whether teachers have written what type of a question this is. Leeward orographic, it is true, this is an orographic rainfall. It is also called a relief rainfall. They already know that. If you ask what type of a rainfall this is, for example, question number 19, that is knowledge. And knowledge questions are very simple. Our learners will pass. But now let's go a little bit deeper. And that's why, according to the analysis that we have from our end, question 19 was not failed by many people. Actually, it is one of the questions that was well performed. Please do not rely too much on the same, because in KCPE, they will come up with, you saw, application questions, analysis are carrying 28%. So the part marked B receives little rainfall mainly because somebody who has written, let me see whether we have written the type of a question, I mean the type of cognitive being tested, comprehensive analysis application. Those are already 3 different ideas, orographic and so forth. So the part marked B receives little rainfall mainly because that type of a question is a comprehension. Did the learner understand what the teacher was teaching? Is a comprehension question. It is mainly because it is sheltered from the rain, and the question, the correct answer is supposed to be A. It is sheltered, is the leeward. Actually, the other name is the rain shadow. That's why we shall say it is sheltered from the rain-bearing winds. That is a comprehension. Did the learner understand what the teacher said about that part? Allow me to go to question 21. Question 21 is asking about in which part of Kenya is the above rainfall likely to be experienced. Now, get out of the syllabus, get out and come up with, you have towns here. Give us the correct answer. And I think from there now you can tell me what cognitive is being tested here. In which part of Kenya is the above rainfall likely? Remember we talked about these words that are key, likely to be experienced. We have Mombasa, Kisumu, Mount Kenya, and Lamu. The type of question, the type of cognitive, allow me to check what you have written. Most of you are writing the C question, I mean the answer, the correct answer, which is C. But I want us first of all to understand what type of a question. Very good, Mr. There is Otieno here. It's an application question. It's an application. You can be given a town that is not written in the syllabus. It's upon you, it's upon the learner to know this town now, to apply the knowledge and come up with the correct answer. Allow me to go to question number 26. Question number 26 was also one of the most failed questions. I know by now we already know what type of cognitive is being tested. Which crop requires the following conditions? We have high humidity, protection from strong winds and heavy rainfall, high temperatures, high rainfall of over 2,000 millimeters. Let me see very fast. I know by now most of us will get this one. Synthesis, analysis. Somebody else is writing, or just writing the answer. Analysis, synthesis. I think we are having a problem understanding what analysis and synthesis is all about. Maybe when we go through the slides and we organize for the next a session, we shall talk more about this type of questions and the cognitives that are being tested. The people who have written synthesis are correct, because synthesis have something to do with your given characteristics, you are given conditions, you are given achievements of a certain person, and you are supposed to deduce the answer from there. And therefore, the correct answer here, I know most of you are writing the correct answer, which is cocoa. Cocoa needs high humidity. Cloves also, those people who failed wrote choice boy and alpha, that is A. There are similarities between growing the conditions necessary for cloves and cocoa, but there is always one or two that will give you the correct answer. We'll separate between the two. For example, the two of them need high humidity. Both of them need high temperature, but the temperature for cloves is a little bit higher when it is compared with that one of cocoa. For cloves, we normally say 30, from 27 all the way to 30 degrees. And I don't know whether we can write the temperature necessary for the growth of cocoa on the chart. I'm just waiting a second. The temperature for cloves, I have said, very good. From, Monica, you have said from 24. Now, 24 to what? From very nice, very good. So let the learners differentiate between the two. That for cocoa is normally 24 to 28. But that one of cloves, all the way to 30. So the temperature for cloves is slightly higher than that one of cocoa. And then protection from strong winds. Cloves do not need protection. Cocoa, because of the berries, they normally need protection from strong winds because they can break easily if the wind is very strong. They can also be intercropped with crops like bananas. They also provide shade. I have, so that is it. It was a synthesis question. Allow me to go to the last one, question number 27. I think it's the last one. Question 27 is, 3 of the following are problem-facing river projects in Africa. You are given choices that are problems. They are okay. They are problems. You are not refusing. But you are asked which one is not. 3 of the following are problem-facing river projects in Africa. Which one is not? Allow the learner to know which cognitive they are being tested on. Allow me to see number 27 very fast. See whether we understood. Analysis, very good. Analysis, there is a person here who is really getting what I'm saying. Analysis, very correct. Another person, maybe the last one, analysis, very correct. this is an analysis question. You go to the choices, analyze, and come up with the correct one, the one that is not. And shortage of water during the dry season is a problem. Inadequate capital is one of the main problems. Sufficient, the word sufficient means enough. And I therefore do not understand, unless maybe the vocabulary used, I don't know whether they needed the word adequate. Please, teachers, give a variety of words that mean the same as the ones that are used in social studies. Like, for example, sufficient means enough. Therefore, you can allow your learners to know some other words that can be used in place of others, words that are synonymous. I don't know whether we still have another question. Let me see. Yeah, number 27, question 27 was the last one. And therefore, at this juncture, allow me to finish. I'm almost concluding. Mr. Polycarp, you can see my slide?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Just a minute, I go to where I'm supposed to go. So I believe that we have learned a lot in terms of the way and what the setters of this Kpsa social studies examination wanted and what they were testing. It's upon us now, teachers, to go and implement what we have said. I know you are going to be sent these slides. Allow me to go to general comments, please, and I will be a little bit brief so that we save on time. There is need for teachers to thoroughly teach all topics according to the weighing in the syllabus and make tests to test achievements of knowledge taught. Teachers need to thoroughly teach topics according to the weighing, the weight of that topic. For example, we saw that resources, economic activities is a little bit heavier than citizenship. Please, teachers, do not waste a lot of time on citizenship. Do not waste a lot of time on democracy. They are very important topics we are not refusing. But during the KCPE, most of the questions, according to the percentage distribution, will not come from that. For sure, we would not like to waste a lot of time on syllabuses that, on the topics that are just going to give us 2 questions by the end of the day. So there is need for teachers to thoroughly teach all topics according to the weighing in the syllabus and make tests to test achievement of knowledge. Maps and diagrams should be used where the syllabus dictates and candidates given quizzes on the same. I used to have a problem when I was initially when I joined teaching. Yes, I liked teaching and especially social studies. Problem. Know how to draw maps. As I continued being acquainted with how to draw, I found myself not having drawn for about 5 years. Having drawn the map of Eastern Africa. The map of Eastern Africa especially has a problem. And we all agree they have a problem. So please, I don't know whether you can see something like this. What you do, you can see my photos here, the picture that is here. I have already drawn maps. This is from the administration. They organize on how teachers of social studies are going to get such. So that those people, those teachers who do not have the skills of drawing, instead of wasting a lot of time, you only have 35 minutes or 40 or 50 minutes to teach according to the schedule that you people have in your different schools. A teacher may take like 40 minutes to draw the map of Eastern Africa. As you can see here, it's a little bit complicated. We have the map of Africa. For me, this one was a little bit easy. I once drew a map of Kenya, and my learners told me that it looked like a t-shirt. From there henceforth, I decided I will talk with the administration. I already have maps that are very ready. In case I need a map of Eastern Africa, I just send a people, go collect it, and we start locating whatever thing that we are locating. So I would urge teachers from here now, if you normally have a problem with drawing maps, not even having a problem, it is not necessarily that you have a problem. You might be okay, but you normally take time, and we want to save that time so that we can do what is necessary. Because there is no point, there is no time in KCPE we shall be told to draw a map but locating, we shall be required to tell what is found at a particular place or from a particular country. So if you find you have a problem in drawing, please talk well with your administrators. Tell them to buy and take them for drawing to an artist. Use your money to come up with good goals by the end of the day. Don't fear drawing. Just try your best, and I know things will be okay. And then number 3, most learners perform poorly in middle and high level cognitive skills due to lack of effective coverage of syllabus and lack of exposure. Most of our learners, as you have seen, most of the questions were analysis, application, and synthesis. And I can authoritatively say, maybe the main reason why they are failing is because on these middle and high level cognitive skills is mainly because we have not thoroughly and effectively covered the syllabus, or we have not exposed our learners to high thinking questions. We just want questions like, for example, questions to do which month is the sun overhead the Tropic of Cancer. The learner says the correct answer, and the learners will get the knowledge questions very easily. But when it comes to KCPE, we get different results. Please take the remaining few months to expose your learners. There is a lot of time for change. And I know by the time they are getting there, they will be acquainted. They will be able to answer questions to do with the high level cognitive skills. Another thing that I want to say is that teachers to note that examinations cannot replace delivery of content to learners. Some of us, instead of teaching the syllabus, we normally go to questions. We call it drilling. You find a teacher is always having examinations, and that is where the learners, even to an extent where you ask a learner, on which topic are you people? The learner says, I don't know. Reason, it's because the teacher always carries papers. They don't know. So the learners are learning from papers, which is very dangerous. Teachers to set quizzes after finishing the syllabus or after covering maybe a topic or a subtopic. Have a strategy. Remember, we said pedagogical skills that are effective. They should emphasize on data teaching and guided by the syllabus and not by the textbooks. There are some of us who are using textbooks that are not supposed to be used, for example, so that you find an author wrote something that is contradicting with what the syllabus is saying. It is really not a good thing if you are a teacher of social studies and you don't have the syllabus with you. Please, let's avoid, and especially with this use of technology, where we have the syllabuses and the lesson plans being distributed from one phone to the other. And a teacher, the head teacher maybe, or the HOS, the head of subject, asked for a lesson plan, and you just duplicate it from the WhatsApp, and you don't even know what you are teaching. So it is important for us to use the syllabus to cover the topics effectively and set the questions, and from there. Another thing that I will urge our teachers to do is to engage learners with activities that facilitate learning to enable them grasp the concept taught. However, remember what I started by saying. I said memory is not always a reliable indicator of intelligence. Some of us teachers are used to it's like a song. They already know what you're going to ask. Instead of understanding the concept so that they are able to apply the knowledge that you have taught them, by the end of the day, you find a thing we call rote learning. Rote learning is memorizing. It has become a song. Let me give you an example. A teacher enters class and the learners are already singing. That is very dangerous. What I can say is this: teachers should avoid rote learning and just use it as a cornerstone. Use it as a foundation. I'm not saying you don't use mnemonics, acronyms, and those songs, but please, that is not what shall be tested. By the way, for your information, listen to this. Those type of that type of by the end of the day, what the learners will get from that is just knowledge. Because you don't have a song, for example, on application. You don't have an answer, for example. We don't have a question or a song or an acronym asking on evaluation. And we have seen that evaluation, analysis, synthesis are taking the largest percentage. So for me, I would say, please use whatever things, those acronyms and mnemonics, to create a foundation for the learner to have the knowledge as you move forward to the application, cognitive, and also synthesis and so forth. Okay. Allow me to go to the last part, maybe, and show you what cognitive is all about. Rote learning. Rote learning, we have two types of learning. We have the first one, which is meaningful learning. Meaningful learning. Meaningful learning requires well-organized, relevant knowledge. A lot of emotional commitment to integrate new with existing knowledge. Another thing we have now, meaningful learning, if you are not careful and it becomes continuum, you are going to provide what we call rote learning. If you continuously continue doing what you're doing. For example, the singing, the acronyms and so forth. This results to little or no knowledge relevant to the concept, no emotional commitment to relate with new existing relevant knowledge. So I hope you have understood the opposite of rote learning, where you normally go to class and what you are doing is like drilling continuously. And today you are teaching the same concept. You want the learners to understand. Instead of understanding now, they just memorize. That is rote learning. The difference, the opposite is meaningful learning, where you have a well-organized structure that is giving relevant knowledge to the learners. Emotional commitment is needed here, and you also relate with the existing knowledge. From my end, I don't have much to say. I know I have talked a lot, but allow me to stop at that so that we can allow time for maybe questions. I want to thank you very much for being there and also listening. And I know that we have learned a lot from this. So, Mr. Okumu, I don't know whether you are there.
Yes, I'm very much actively involved.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Brother Charles, for the wonderful presentation. You are so precise, you are so clear. And actually, personally, I've appreciated the way in which you are trying to bring out your points has been so clear. Thank you so much for the wonderful work that you've done. I think there are a few questions on the chat column. I don't know whether Polycarp was assisting you to get some of the questions, but I noted a few. Maybe before you finally exit, you can answer to some of these few. Mr. Were Andrew was asking,
yes,
though it's not directly on social studies, but it's general, what is the main disagreement between teachers and students?
Come again?
I don't know whether to read for you all the questions asked, then you answer them at once, or I ask one and you respond. Which one is convenient for you?
Maybe you can read just the way you have told me. I don't know the difference between. You can tell me again, but I can answer very fast, so that we also save time.
Okay. What is the main disagreement between teachers and students? That is being asked by Mr. Were Andrew.
Please allow me to answer it.
Yeah.
Very fast. I would say that question has been asked severally in KCPE. The main source of conflict between a learner and the teacher is normally poor performance. By the end of the day, we want good results. If you don't have good results, you don't become my friend. That is the case. But it is not supposed to be the case. Mainly because we want performance by the end of the day. But there is another year, the question was brought. I don't remember which year, but it is there. And the choice about performance was not there. In this case, they went with the answer for discipline. I hope that is clear. So we can say the main source of conflict, the main reason why there is a conflict between learners and teachers is normally performance. But if that is not there, we have, of course, some other reasons. So it's upon the learner to evaluate. I don't know that you know that that is a type of, it's a cognitive, the cognitive test that there is the evaluation. So thank you.
Okay, the other question is asked by Mr. Simon Okoti. Is asking, how do we call the system of administration used by the Portuguese in Mozambique?
Come again.
How do we call the system of administration used by the Portuguese in Mozambique?
I think that's at 2000 and what? 2004, 2006, somewhere there. I don't remember well, but it.
Yes.
I can't. Ashford, go ahead.
I was alerting Mr. George that I don't know from his end, not as clear as where Charles says. Maybe he may check his connection. I am getting Charles loud and clearer than George.
Okay, noted.
Okay, go ahead. So the question is on the system of administration that is used in what? By the Portuguese in Mozambique, isn't it? Mr. George?
Yes, yeah.
Assimilado.
Okay, it was asking, how do we call the system of administration used by the Portuguese in Mozambique? Yeah, that was the question.
Yes, the correct answer is supposed to be assimilation.
Okay, the other one.
Yes.
Who dissolves parliament? Who dissolves parliament?
The parliament is supposed to be dissolved by the Speaker of the National Assembly.
And then who swears in members of parliament?
Members of parliament, okay, there are changes in our constitution, and you might find that there are some books that have not adhered to that. They have not changed. And therefore, most of our teachers are confused between who swears the members of parliament, between the clerk of the National Assembly and the Speaker. And the correct answer, as per now, according to the constitution, is supposed to be the clerk of the National Assembly.
Okay, thank you. What is Flying Otieno is asking, what is the difference between East Africa and Eastern Africa?
This has something to do with the region, Mr. George. The region and the countries that are there. For East Africa, for example, we have only 5 countries. Rwanda and Burundi joined the other day, I think in 2005, if I'm not wrong. We used to have Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, but Rwanda and Burundi joined. So actually, in terms of knowledge, the learner can be asked how many countries, and they are supposed to mention them, right? And then we have Eastern Africa. Eastern Africa is a little bit bigger because it involves Somalia, Sudan, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Djibouti, and so forth. So it has something to do with the number of the countries. And as you can see, even the word is bigger, Eastern. And the East has only 5.
Okay.
I think that is clear.
Yeah, there are several others on the chat column. Allow me to give you to allow some few individuals just to air their questions directly.
I can see this, the main reason why Bantus migrated from Congo. There is normally a conflict between, I know why Mr. Robert is asking this, it's mainly because of population pressure. Population pressure. If you go with in search of fertile land to cultivate, that one is also a reason because of the population, they left the place and went to search for another place to farm. So the main one is normally supposed to be the population pressure. As you go for the second main, which is in search of fertile land to cultivate.
Okay. I'm allowing Mr. Kimungui Atha. He has a question. Yes. He has raised up his hand. Mr. Kimungui Atha, you will unmute, and then you speak. Kindly.
Yes, I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you, Mr. Kimungui.
Thank you. I'm Mr. Newton Mlongo, Jack and Jill Kitale, together with Mr. Kimungui, a social study teacher.
Okay.
I had some few points to highlight. First, I wanted to ask the host that we have been talking about the Abasuba. So I wanted to know the Abasuba belongs to which language group? And we were told that at first they were living in Bupungu Pakwach, that is in Uganda. They were displaced by the Luo. So I don't know, are they Luo or are they Luya? Number two, I wanted also I'm concerned about the questions that have been responded. The host has said that the one who swears in MPs is clerk. To me, it is wrong. The one who swears in MPs is Speaker of the National Assembly, and the Speaker is sworn in by the clerk. Therefore, that is a concern. Also another concern, the teacher has answered a question on EAC, East African Community. He has said that we have 5 countries. To me, it is not 5, it is 6, because South Sudan joined 2016. So it's Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, and South Sudan. Lastly, I wanted also to know, because this is a training that has been going on, and to me, I believe it's good to have certificates so that when we go somewhere else in an interview, we can present and show that we attended a very important training like this with the Kpsa, and I think they can help us somewhere. Lastly, I appreciate, as a teacher, I appreciate the workshop. To me, I'm a teacher of mathematics, social studies, and science. So far I've attended the 3. And as I'm speaking, I'm now sharp enough. So I would like just to appreciate the work Kpsa is doing at large. At the same time, I want you to have more, even in a term, I wanted to organize for 2 or more these workshops so that teachers can be developed. And of course, we shall really transfer this to our children, and they really benefit from us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Charles, can we allow somebody else to ask so that you will respond to them at once as we close, because time is so much spent.
Yes.
Mr. Vitalis Masaka, kindly unmute and then ask your question. Mr. Vitalis Masaka.
Umepresent vizuri sana.
Mr. Vitalis, seemingly hayuko. Let's go to Madam Lois Wanza Mwasia. Madam Lois Wanza Mwasia, you unmute and then you speak. Madam Lois, hayuko, then let's go to Flying Otieno. Flying Otieno, if you're there, you can... Yes. Let's first of all give Madam Lois.
Thank you.
Yes. I am Lois Wanza Mwasia, and I have a question. And this question is about the settlement patterns. You find that most of the books say that nucleated settlements is the same as clustered settlements. Is it true, or what is the difference?
Thank you, Madam. Let's go to Flying Otieno, then we'll give Mr. Charles a chance to answer all the questions. Mr. Otieno, you unmute and then you speak.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm Mr. Otieno from Kpsa Highlands. I had a question. I don't know whether you're getting me clearly.
Yes, we are clearly getting you.
Okay, thank you so much. My question was, due to the vast experience on social studies teaching that you people have, I wanted you to help us with clearing the syllabus within a term and then having revision for the remaining 2 terms. How effective is it in terms of productivity, in terms of results? And then how can we get to know whether there are other workshops? Because this one I just found it by chance. So maybe the correct channel we can use.
So, Mr. George, can I answer the questions?
Yes, yes, go ahead, Charles.
Now, allow me to start with Mr. Kimungui. Yeah? If I got it right, he started asking by asking about the Abasuba. And I wanted to say that you know very well that Abasubas were Western Bantus that settled along the Nyanza region, the Western region, that is neighboring Nyanza. And by the end of the day, they got assimilated. To assimilate is to change holistically in terms of the culture. They become kind of part of you. And I think that is what the French wanted to also do, and it really failed. But because of the number, sometimes it wins. Assimilation can happen. Like, for example, what happened? Because the Luos were many, and therefore, the Abasubas, we don't have the Abasubas. The Abasubas are River Lake Nilots now, because they got assimilated. The question from the same person about the swearing in of the speaker, the members of parliament, I started by saying that this is a thing that some books have not really even changed, because you find a book is capturing. I want you to go, Mr. Kimungui, to the Constitution and check. I would also urge some of us, and I told you that people, that the best thing some of us can learn is by also getting things practically. Let's go to, for example, the YouTube and search who swore in the members of parliament in 2017 after the general elections. And I am sure, Mr. Kimungui, you will not find the speaker. The speaker automatically is obviously sworn in by the clerk of the National Assembly. But even according to the last general election, search and see who swore in the members of parliament. You'll find it's the clerk of the National Assembly. But most of our books have not changed. The question about there was a question about nucleated. Please allow me to take you here. I don't know whether we have much time. Mr. George, allow me to share a little bit.
It's okay.
As I explain about this, there is a slight difference. Most teachers normally confuse. And I even tell my learners, if you find in a question that they have given you clustered and nucleated, for example, they have given you clustered and they are using it as what? As nucleated. Pick it as the correct answer. Let me show you. I don't know that I will be able to draw very fast. Mr. George, you can see my screen?
Yes, I can see it from this end.
Just a minute as it loads. I want a new one. Yes, I got it here. It's taking time, but it's going to open up. Now, please follow. Let me pick a pencil here. Very fast. So I assume that this is my map. This is my area. Mr. George, you can see that, right?
Yes.
And then I have these grouped settlement or pattern, very correct. And mainly you might find that they are settled along somewhere or at a particular point, mainly because of an economic activity that is going on somewhere there. And then I have another one here. The type of settlement pattern that is here, we shall say the correct answer is supposed to be clustered. The word cluster means to group. You have heard of cluster examinations, cluster exams. It means you group, like for example, these ones are grouped. These ones are also grouped. Many teachers normally confuse between clustered and nucleated. And I want to draw a totally new one. Sorry. Nucleated. Clear the frame. Allow me to draw very fast. So that one is, that grouped one is the one that we are calling cluster. Even I have told you from the definition of the word cluster, cluster means to group. But I have this one, where you find that like they are in one very big place. So the people are here.
They are along.
Not along, but on a particular, for example, you can see they are on this region.
Then
This is now the exactly, this is the exact what? This is the exact nucleated. This is what is supposed to be nucleated. Somebody asked that question. This is what is supposed to be nucleated. So the group one is the one that we normally group like this, but clustered, I mean nucleated, you find the population settlement on one region like this. But many books, most of our books are normally bringing the what? The two to mean, I mean the word nucleated to mean clustered. And that is where now the confusion comes in. Let me repeat, this type of settlement here, where they are settled on one region. Like for example, it can also be northeast, maybe somewhere here, like that. That is the exact, this is the perfect what? Nucleated. But if you find that they are grouped like this, find that they are grouped on one region, and especially because of an economic activity, then we shall say that that is what? The cluster. Please tell your learners like this. Once you explain this, please listen. Once you tell them this, let them know that the most of our examination setters, and especially, and I wish I had time, I read you one statement from the newsletter. It says, teachers to scrutinize examinations and avoid scrupulous examination setters. There are some exams that will bring this one meaning the same as nucleated. Please note that there is a slight difference between the two. I don't know that I have answered the question right and clear.
Masaka Peter, if kindly allow me to ask the question.
Okay.
Yeah. So my question is about filing for a seat or contesting for a seat. You find that our books, they say presidential 18 years. They say member of parliament 18 years. Member of county assembly and all of them, they say 18 years, the 6 positions. But the question is, when we take the presidential requirement, they also say you must have attained the degree. Then my question is, how can you attain a degree at the age of 18 years?
Yes, that is a controversial thing that is ongoing. I remember the members of assembly were fighting the requirement for degree so that anyone, and especially our politicians, you know, most of them might not be having these degrees. Eh? Yes, Mr. George.
Excuse me, Charles.
Yes.
You have to summarize. We see time is not really on our side. Summarize, and maybe I know I'm seeing several questions still on the chat column. Maybe you'll also, as you wind up, you can share your number so that other teachers that may still have some other concerns or maybe future engagements, they can contact you through your number. So maybe summarize, and share your number, and finish as we.
So the people who are asking about these things, I think because it's not fair for me to take much time, because I know we have a conclusion from one of us. Allow me to share my number so that some people can reach out. I have been called in different schools, and I know we can grow together because we are here to sharpen each other. So allow me to write it on the screen.
George?
Yes, yes.
I think as Charles is writing his number.
Oh, yeah.
One thing very, very quickly. Yeah?
Yes.
Sorry, you.
Mr. George, I'm done.
Okay.
You, no, Charles.
Yes.
Your number is not being shared on the screen. I'm not seeing any number on the screen.
I have, first of all, written it on the chat.
Okay, yeah, now it's
but we also have it here.
Yeah, we can see it. Now, Ashford was saying something. Mr. Ashford, kindly.
Sorry, I was saying something. I needed the chance to hear this.
Yes.
Excellent presentation that you have done. I am particularly the fact that you talked about the cognitive skills, and I want to let teachers know that the next is better. Does not call them exams; they are called items. All the questions are called items because they actually test the cognitive skills. And once, like the exercise that Charles was asking us to identify the skill tested, very, very important.
Watu wamesikia nini kwa Nairobi?
Someone might sorry? Yeah, I was saying once we master the cognitive skills, like the Kenya National Examination, say here every year, the higher order cognitive skills are the ones that are don't you can take over, what people proceed.
Thank you so much, Bwana Ashford. I think we've come to the end of today's session, and I have to appreciate all the teachers that have taken their time to participate in this training. I have to say that this is just the first of the many several such kind of trainings that Kpsa has lined up for you people. We've been having similar trainings, as had been said by one of the teachers, since Monday this week. On Monday, we had a similar training for mathematics teachers. On Tuesday, we had training for English teachers. On Wednesday was a holiday, so we didn't have a training on Wednesday. On Thursday, yesterday, we had a training for teachers of science teachers, and today we have for social studies. Tomorrow, Saturday, we also have a training that is lined up for teachers of Kiswahili. And their training will begin a little bit early, being weekend, from 10. Their training will begin from 10. So if there are teachers of Kiswahili in your respective schools, kindly inform them that there is a similar training. Of course, not with the same trainers. We have other trainers that are well versed on issues of Kiswahili and how Kiswahili stroke Insha. Next week, we also have trainings for, on Monday, PP1 and PP2 teachers will be trained the same time from 3 to 6 p.m. So kindly also inform them. On Tuesday, next week, we have training for, it will be CBC for grade 1, 2, and 3 teachers lumped together on Tuesday, and we'll close our trainings on Wednesday by training teachers for grade 4 and grade 5 teachers on CBC issues. Otherwise, this is just the first of the many kind of trainings, as I've said. And I told you that Kpsa is keen on adding value. In addition to giving schools examinations, what else can we do on the exams as teachers to help our students grow or improve on their results? So that is basically our main objective with these trainings. So kindly spread the message. Sometimes we even encourage schools to, when teachers are attending such functions or such trainings, you can invite your students so that they get first-hand information even from the facilitators and the trainers that we've outsourced from various quarters. Otherwise, once again, I take this chance to sincerely thank, first of all, the panelists, Mr. Ashford Gikunda, Mr. Charles Maura, Mr. Polycarp Teto, Mr. Martin Wairegi. Thank you so much for being available and taking your time to be with us and for the presentations. Also, I personally, on behalf of all the teachers, I thank you all teachers for being patient. Sitting down for 3 hours to listen to the presentations is not very easy, but we thank you for your patience. Otherwise, we began the meeting with the word of prayer. We'll also end with the word of prayer from my colleague, Mr. Martin Wairegi. Kindly lead us in the final and the closing prayer for this session. Martin, please.
We have Sheba.
Oh, Sheba.
She was to do close.
Sheba Simiu, I don't know whether you are available. Kindly lead us in a word of prayer, Madam Sheba Simiu.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Yes.
Okay, let's pray. Okay, let's pray. Father, Lord, in the mighty name of Jesus Christ, I want to say thank you for the meeting that we have had. Thank you for guiding us, for being with us, for guiding us throughout the meeting, Lord Jehovah. Whatever we've learned, we pray that may you help us to put into consideration and may you help us in our operations, oh Lord Jehovah. We give you praise and honor and adoration for this one, like you, mighty Father. Thank you for the teachers who have attended the meeting. Together with the facilitators, Lord Jehovah, we pray that may you bless them and bless Kpsa in general, Lord Jehovah. We give you praise and honor and adoration for this one, like you, mighty Father. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, I do pray and believe. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, everyone. Have an enjoyable weekend, and may God bless you all.
Okay, those who are asking the link for Kiswahili, we are going to share it shortly in WhatsApp group. So in the WhatsApp groups for every county, we usually have a Kpsa WhatsApp group. We are going to share there shortly. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin, for the info.
Asanteni sana, mpaka ninawauliza maswali. Haya, ameenda.